It is a great day here on Squared Circle Radio because Andy's favorite wrestler has finally returned. I can't believe it. Goldberg is back. Andy, you must be on cloud nine, brother.
Oh, I'm just so excited. I'm so happy. I must feel like what Bret Hart feels every day. That's how I'm feeling right now.
Oh my goodness. Welcome to Squared Circle Radio live on our YouTube channel on a Monday night after Raw. And of course, if you're watching the replay, you are also welcome. You might not be watching live, but that's okay. You just need to adjust your schedule. Come be with us every Monday night live on our YouTube channel. If you're listening on podcast, just follow on whatever platform that is. We appreciate that so much. That is the Young Buck Andy York, and I'm your phenomenal host, Mr. Podcasting Chris Belcher. My brother Bryce is already in the chat. He might be biased, thought SmackDown was better than tonight. Well, Bryce, that's because you and I were in the building for SmackDown, and we got 4 fatal 4-way matches and a surprise CM Punk. We're going to talk about all that on the show as well. But Andy, if you're stacking the two shows, we always say, you guys drop your comments, drop your questions. We'll talk about what you want to hear about. If you're stacking the two up against each other, Raw versus SmackDown this week, what do you think?
I'd probably go with SmackDown. Just because there was so much that happened. There was so much going on. I feel like this Raw was good, but there was some low moments, or some not low moments, but just moments that you could miss, and it's totally fine. I feel like SmackDown, it was just every segment was something that you had to be tuned into, had to watch, had to pay attention to what was going on. So, I thought SmackDown was one of the best SmackDowns of the year so far.
If not the
Yeah, and this Raw was good, but a pretty standard Raw in a lot of ways.
Sure. Yeah. Especially because I was texting you throughout the show. We were both anticipating John Cena being there, or at least CM Punk, and we didn't get either of them on the show. So thought it was kind of strange. But nonetheless, let's move on. Let's talk about it. City Kitties in the chat. Hey, you all. Thanks for being with us. Again, if you're in the chat, if you're watching live, drop those comments and questions. We'll take all of them, or at least as many as we can live. Otherwise, let's get down to it. Andy, I teased it. Top of the show. I know he's not your favorite wrestler, but it's so much fun to pick at you. When Goldberg comes back, not only does Goldberg come back, but he is challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship. Andy, let's just be real, man. Goldberg can't come back if it's not a title match. It just doesn't make any sense. And here we are.
No, I think it makes sense for him to come back without a world title match. I think you could absolutely do it. Yeah, listen, I tweeted this out literally last week. As soon as Gunther won, this is all to set up Goldberg. And I was hoping they would give me at least a week before they they threw it in my face that this is what was happening.
Nope.
No, it happened later the next week. I hate it. I'm not a fan of it, obviously. I wish it wasn't for the world title. I wish Goldberg did not get another world title opportunity. However, I feel more comfortable about it just because of who's in charge. Yes. Now, I did tell Katie, while we were watching this tonight, because she loves Goldberg as much as I do. I told her, I said, if Goldberg wins the world title at Saturday night's main event, that is the most Vince McMahon thing Triple H can do. And I don't think he's going to do it. Just to take the title off of Jay, to put it on Gunther, to put it on Goldberg doesn't seem like a very Triple H-esque thing to do. So I'm not as worried about it. Just hearing that music makes my blood boil sometimes. But the crowd love it. They're into it. I get why they're doing it. I may hate it. I understand why they're doing it, though. So it's not like it's just out of the blue. I understand the reason behind it.
Bro, such a big pop tonight. Such a big pop when his music hit. It was huge. I disagree in the sense of I don't think Goldberg can come back if it's not a title match, because I just don't think it makes sense. I don't think anybody wants to see him wrestle for anything other than a championship, because that's all the guy did when he was wrestling to begin with. So why would he do anything else? So to me, it's just a little strange if he doesn't. Having said that, though, I was very intrigued. Goldberg comes out and he's wearing a Goldberg's Last Ride shirt. And they've already got the stuff up on WWE Shop. So essentially, we're billing this as Goldberg's retirement match. That wasn't said tonight. So I just wonder either they're saving it for a storyline for Gunther to say, well, this has to be your last match or whatever. But why would they release the merch if they're doing it for a story? So I'm just confused as to why they didn't just go ahead and I know he said it started in Atlanta, he's going to end it in Atlanta, but I felt like they should have at least gone there a little bit tonight.
Yeah. I mean, Gunther didn't say anything to Goldberg. Goldberg just kind of cut the promo the whole time, so maybe they're saving that for next week.
Yep.
But yeah, I caught that too. I thought it was very weird that was not mentioned, especially since he came out wearing the t-shirt. But I don't see him going past Saturday night's main event. I think this is just a one-time thing, retirement match in Atlanta. Give him his flowers, go home, never come back. That type of thing. I do think though it's smart to do it the way they're doing it. I mean, it's not a massive pay-per-view. It's on a weekend where they're already doing 2 shows. Might as well capitalize on it. So it makes sense why they're doing it. I think the world title thing, I think they built up the Gunther Goldberg storyline so well last year or whenever it was, earlier this year or last year. I can't remember.
Bad blood. It was bad blood.
Yeah. He could have easily came out last week and cost Gunther in that world title match. Like came out, cost them, said they were even. Gunther then calls him back out, and then we go into Saturday night's main event and with an actual rivalry, not based around the title. That makes sense, and you could put Goldberg's retirement on the line.
You could, and you could actually have Goldberg win in his last match if that was the case. I mean, I'm not saying that he should. I'm just saying there's a way better shot for him to win his retirement match, especially because of everything he said on social media and everything about the way he wants to go out and et cetera, what have you. But that being said, I'm surprised you haven't brought it up yet. We're 7-8 minutes into the show. He was limping on the way to the ring already.
I noticed.
It was not going to end well.
I noticed. Listen, I'm just happy he didn't concuss himself before he walked out there. So that was a massive win. I just this whole time, the main reason why I'm nervous is because the last thing I want is for Gunther to get dropped on his neck, which is a very real possibility when he's in there with Bill Goldberg. It's a very real possibility.
Yep.
Obviously, very different circumstances. Gunther can probably hold himself up better than Taker could whenever their match was, just because of age-wise and everything else that's going on.
Goldberg couldn't hold him up anyway because he was concussed. He was not.
So I don't. It's not going to be a long match. It's going to be quick. It's going to be fast. I think Goldberg might fly mad the first time he takes a real Gunther chop. To be real honest with you, I think he might.
Dude, I cannot wait till that happens. That's gonna
be great.
He might
get mad, and just try to take Gunther out. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty at all. But it might be entertaining. So you know what? I will take it.
And it's the best spot for them to do it in. It's Saturday night's main event. Like you said, they're already, have a couple events that weekend. It's on network television. The same reason that Logan Paul got his world title match when he did.
Yeah.
It makes all the sense in the world. So I'm interested to see how they build it over the next couple of weeks. Interested to see how much Goldberg appears over the next couple of weeks. Obviously he's not on a John Cena deal, so it's not like time is ticking. But again, he probably signed this deal to be able to, we're 4 weeks away, 5 weeks away, whatever it is. So he probably is contracted for all of those dates. Who knows? We'll see. I'll be interested to see how they build it. Like I said. All right. Speaking of John Cena, he was not. Oh, by the way, let me get to Bryce's comment real quick before we move on. Bad spot for Liv Morgan tonight. Dude, just 5 seconds into the match, looked like a very routine thing, and it just did not go well for her shoulder, man. Tough break for Liv. Hopefully that dislocation is not super serious and she can get back quickly.
Yeah, and I hate it for it too, because it seems like they're obviously setting her up for a big match of some, like whether it's a tag match or a one-on-one match at Evolution against Nikki Bella.
Yep.
So it seems like they had that in the works. And like you said, it was just a a standard move I think we've seen her take every week that she's been wrestling. And, even the way she fell, it didn't even look like it was that bad until they did the slow-mo, and then you can kind of see the way her shoulder moved. But, I hate to see anybody get injured in any case or any way, but I feel like, especially for Liv coming back, everybody, is waiting for her to break out and do her singles run. She had that great promo last week on Nikki Bella.
Yep.
And I hate for her momentum to just come to a stop from out of nowhere just because of an injury. So, like you said, hopefully it's nothing serious. Hopefully she gets back sooner rather than later. Everything can kind of move on as planned, and she can get back to it.
Yeah, because we're starting to see, we've seen from the beginning cracks between her and Roxanne in the Judgment Day, and of course her and Finn, and now we're starting to see it with Raquel as well. So I was very interested to see exactly how that was all going to shake out. It might get delayed a little bit. Hopefully not. We will see, though.
Listen, Judgment Day is going to live forever at this point.
That's fair.
Judgment Day is going to live forever.
That's fair. And that pun could either be accredited to Liv Morgan or Damian Priest, whichever one you want. But regardless, it's going to live forever. All right. Speaking of John Cena, again, let's backtrack a little bit. He was not on Monday Night Raw tonight. We thought he was advertised, or at least I could have sworn he was advertised, and I was ready for him to come out in that green and gold Packer gear. But nonetheless, he did not show up tonight. Where he did show up, as Bryce mentioned, and as I mentioned earlier, Friday Night SmackDown this past week in Lexington, Kentucky, which, by the way, cheap plug, vlog for Friday Night SmackDown last week that I shot is coming later this week. So be on the lookout for the channel for that. Subscribe. It's going to be a lot of fun. We had a whole lot of fun at SmackDown, but Andy, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, SmackDown on Friday was the first show that we've really seen John Cena woven throughout the entire show, like multiple segments with Cena throughout. And I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely for like a TV show. I think obviously Saturday night's main event, he was kind of woven through it, but not like he was Friday night. I mean, I was kind of disappointed at the beginning of SmackDown because I was like, that's all we get from Cena tonight is he kind of cut a promo, got interrupted a couple times, got attacked by Killings, and then left. I loved, by the way, the backstage segment between him and Nick Aldis,
where he turned his
no
hat
audio, but he turned that hat backwards, and he de-aged by like 20 years when he did that too. He looked like Thugonomics Cena when he did that. But yeah, I love that they interwoven him throughout that entire show and just doing it in ways that we didn't even like expect to see coming or see happening. So I thought they did a fantastic job of not just using him for a one segment thing, but like you've got 3 hours. So, use him throughout the entire night.
Yeah, you definitely, it was super cool because, man, again, being in the crowd, it was cool. The no audio thing was like, okay, cool. That's fine. That's hilarious. And then he popped back up talking to Jimmy Uso. And we're like, oh, that's kind of cool. Whatever. And then, dude, the pop in the arena when he said, tell him I'm coming to meet me in the ring, bro, it was like, wait a minute. What? And I felt so bad because being there was a guy and his son was probably 7, 7, 8, something like that, just decked out in John Cena and gear. And he told me when they got to their seats, he was like, man, we've been trying to get John Cena all year. We've been trying to just make sure that we get to see Cena or whatever. And they were not at their seats when this backstage thing happened. And then I was like, oh no, they're going to miss him for the second time. But then when they came back from commercial and the music started, that kid and his dad were just running down the steps. Oh, it was so funny, dude. That was great, man. But then not only did we get Cena and Cody at the beginning of the show, we get a little bit of Randy in there, a little bit of LA Knight in there. And of course, you mentioned Ron the Truth Killings attacking Cena. Then we get the surprise of CM Punk, and dude, the roof blew off the place, and it was a fantastic back and forth promo between these guys.
Yeah, this segment was everything I wanted from a rematch between these two guys. Is you want these kind of promos where they're going to go back and forth on each other. They're going to, bring out the only good thing from WWE in 2011, 2012, which was this feud that they ran for like the whole year basically.
Right.
And so you get that, like you got that moment on Friday night, and these two guys were absolutely killing it. They were going back and forth. I feel like there are certain guys when they're in the ring together and they're cutting promos on each other, even their bad nights are still really good compared to everybody else.
Yep.
Like when you get Austin and Rock in a ring together and they're cutting promos on each other, even their bad promos were still like, yeah, but there were still some moments in there where they jabbed each other, they cut each other. I feel like Punk and Cena are kind of like that, of every time they're in the ring together and they're cutting a promo on each other, you're going to get something that you're going to walk away from and go, I cannot believe we heard that. I cannot believe they said that. So it got me really excited for this match. It got me really excited for this feud. I love the underlining tone to this feud without even saying on TV about Punk saying he was basically never going to go to Saudi Arabia. And then Cena's like, nope, you're going to come face me in Saudi Arabia. And like, that's the only thing they've really mentioned, but you can tell every time Cena cuts a promo about it, he's got this grin on him where he's just looking like, you know what we're talking about. Everybody knows what we're talking about if you know what we're talking about. So I love when they do stuff like that, especially with a feud like this.
And you know that Punk is not one to shy away from controversy. He never never will. And he understands that he just has to eat crow and like the taste of it. And Cena's giving it to him without giving it to him, like you said. And then also, it's like, yeah, you want to come get me, but dangling the world title, it's like, okay, you got to come to Saudi Arabia to get this thing.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. It'd be very interesting. Again, I'm just very disappointed, man, that we did not get them tonight. I really thought we were going to get them. I was looking forward to a second round of this because we mentioned them going back and forth, man, but there was not a whole lot of back and forth from Cena. It was Punk cooking him pretty good on SmackDown,
which I feel like is always the case with Cena now. Is like Cena will cut a promo with nobody in the ring, and then when somebody comes out, he like never says anything. He just kind of sits there and takes it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's very true. You're right. I will say this, man. Everybody was really excited about this match when Cena announced his retirement tour. I know you were on cloud nine about it, and everybody wanted it, Money in the Bank or whatever. I wasn't overly excited, only because it was like, what are they going to do? Like Punk is definitely lost a step. Cena's lost like 3 or 4 steps. Like, what are they going to do? Right. But as entertained as we're going to be on the way there, like the match is almost secondary at this point. Like, what do you think? Like, I feel like it's the whole encompassing the whole history between the two. And then the match is secondary.
Yeah. I also think they'll use a lot of smoke and mirrors in this match in some ways, of just, hiding the hiding their slowness in some ways.
Of course.
Because here's the thing. I think with Cena, depending on who he's in the ring with, he can still kind of go. Like if he gets the opportunity, he can still keep up with some of the best. And the same is kind of true with Punk. If you put Punk in there with a guy like Cena, he can wrestle that style, but then you put him in there with a guy like Penta, he may be a step or two slower, but it's not going to take away anything from the match. Right. So I'm really expecting them to kind of play into that. Maybe even so, like with what they did with Randy and Cena, when they had their match, of doing a lot of smoke and mirrors, doing a lot of shenanigans around the ring to get away with a lot of stuff, or just we're in Saudi Arabia, so who knows what could happen. They may just wrestle at an ancient snail pace and everybody will still love it there. So I really don't know what to expect from it. But I kind of agree. I think the match itself is going to be secondary. I can kind of see the finish of this match being the same thing it's always been, with the low blow with the title shot to the head, and then we end with Cena blowing a kiss and leaving through the crowd. Like I could see that absolutely being the case here. Him just kind of coming full circle with everything that he's done almost in all of these feuds that he's been in. So I'm excited for it.
Speaking of full circle, you texted me something. I think it was earlier today. Might have been yesterday. I don't remember. It's been a long day. You were texting me about this very thing. about this feud coming full circle and what happened. Explain that to the people and what your theory might be there.
Yeah, so Punk's most infamous moment, his moment that really kind of put him on the map in WWE's eyes, at least, is his pipe bomb that he cut on Cena, which happened when Cena went one-on-one with R-Truth. Well, Friday night, Cena's going one-on-one with R-Truth in SmackDown, and we could see a pipe bomb 2.0 from Punk. We could see a pipe bomb from John Cena coming out of nowhere. We could see absolutely nothing at all. I think it's very, I don't think it's a coincidence that we're getting Truth and Cena with Punk being in the background coming after Cena's title. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that's kind of done for a reason, maybe to put this idea in our head and then we don't get it, or flip it and have Cena do it. But I think they are definitely going to play into that 2011 Money in the Bank feud a lot.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see how all that shakes out. I never really thought of the time, excuse me, the timing of all that and the same people being involved and, all that kind of stuff. So I think that's very interesting, especially if it was done intentionally.
Mm-hmm.
That match confirmed for Night of Champions. We found out tonight another match confirmed for Night of Champions. AJ Styles, Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship. I don't know. I don't want to say very interesting that it's on Night of Champions because they're trying to build this as a normal pay-per-view, but what are your thoughts?
I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be really good, and it's another pin that AJ Styles is going to eat to put over the younger talent. I think that's kind of my thoughts on it. I would hope I would be fine if I was wrong if they put the title on AJ and had him, be relevant again, because he absolutely should be. But I do think it's I think it's a good spot for Dominic Mysterio, and I think it's a good spot for AJ of getting him out there and have him wrestle with a guy that, a lot of people are very high on backstage, and Dominic, and get this opportunity to make the IC title feel more important, and to, add more credibility to Dominic's title reign, because he had that awesome moment at WrestleMania, and then it feels like they've done absolutely nothing with him and with that title since then. So I think this could be a start to build that up even more.
Yeah, definitely could. He definitely has a bright future, of course, and whether it's a heel or a babyface, what have you. Real quick, before we get ready to sign off tonight, we appreciate you guys being with us again. We'll be back here next Wednesday for another brand new episode where we're going to talk about the King and Queen of the Ring Fatal 4-Ways and stuff, but we're running a little low on time here, so we're going to put that on the Wednesday show, so make sure you check it out there. City Kitty in the chat, is it normal not to be able to hear the announcer's audio in the arena at live events? Yes, 100% normal. And most people going to their first event, or casuals, as we like to call them, who don't, frequent wrestling events or just aren't wrestling fans in general, I mean, that's their biggest surprise too, is they don't get to hear the announcers. It is a little bit shocking, Andy, a little jarring if you don't know that they're not going to be there.
Yeah, I remember going to my first show and I was like, oh, you don't, I thought you'd, but not maybe through the speakers, but like I thought you'd be able to hear them somehow, and you can't. Which kind of, being there live, I like it because you're more focused on the wrestling at hand than what you're hearing. But then you also miss a lot of the storytelling stuff that they're trying to point out on commentary too. So it's a double-edged sword. But it definitely does throw you off the first time you go and watch.
Yeah, for sure. You do miss the storytelling aspect of it. That's why I always go back and watch the shows that I go to.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to do it for our live show tonight. We appreciate you guys being tuned in live with us. We hit a couple of topics here. Again, we're going to talk about King and Queen of the Ring coming up on Wednesday, so just make sure to tune in, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. That helps us a ton. We would appreciate that so very much. For Mr. Andy York, my name is Chris Belcher. This has been another edition of Squared Circle Radio Live. We will catch you guys down the road.